Lou Thesz faithfully defended his world heavyweight championship.
Rogers strut.
Kowalski's got him right where he wants him.
Dory Funk Jr. wanting that world heavyweight championship.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Simon Felder's Dusty Rhodes has just become the world heavyweight wrestling champion.
Presenting the greatest organization in wrestling history.
We always deliver on our promises at the National Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, but pretty hard, and look at what are you gonna work now? Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of NWA Dynasty. We have a pretty good show I shouldn't even say we should have a pretty good show. I always say we have a pretty good show last week, but we really actually had a really good show last week. We had a 63, which I think was the highest that we've ever had an actual, a highest even outside of our pay-per-view, which is really fantastic. So even though we had some weak angles with Tim Storm Jr. and things like that, it did really well. I'm okay with sacrificing some points in order to build up people. Tim Storm's a weird one where he's very young lion, doesn't have a lot of experience, but can potentially build up quickly, but he has no popularity. So really, this is kind of where I would want to see how's his progress going. It's not really going very far. In fact, he's actually dropping. So this is one of the situations where we're probably going to have to cut the ripcord on this storyline quickly. And I have an end game for it, but it might come sooner than I would think. And the ultimate goal is we need to get Tim Storm to start to kind of start to get some bigger wins off of people that matter, and maybe we could kind of build him up into something, because right now it's just not working. So that's definitely a problem. And the QT storyline's not necessarily working as well as it could, which is a bummer. So we'll have to look at that. We'll have to figure out what to do with that. But we have 25 days until into the Codyverse. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I didn't see a lot of comments on the last episode for this since I released it. And when we were dealing with our broadcasting, our booking issues, we noticed that our product wasn't matching some things. So we had, I think, classic no style. I'm still struggling on where I want our style to be. Now, I don't like to cheat in the game, but this is one of the situations where I will, because I feel like we are still figuring out what we really want to be. Now, normally, if we were to move our style around, it would take months, 6 months or more in-game to transition. It's not something I was interested in. For now, I moved it back to a classic sports entertainment style, which is typical wrestling style, larger life characters, battle out, soap opera storylines and angles. I think this probably is appropriate. The NWA, in my vision, for what Dustin's going to be looking for is a classic 70s to 80s era, probably more 80s era wrestling. So Southern influence, probably WCW era focus. And unfortunately, the way these products are set up, if we were to look at them, nothing really fits very well. So, it's going to be a basis on probably entertainment. So you have some like Silver Age Pro Wrestling, it's sort of a mix between Golden Age, or the Golden Age is like the 60s and 70s, and Respectful Wrestling, which is like more of a modern interpretation. Work rate is more important than in the former, but wrestling is not as intensive as in the latter. But if you look at these settings, it's just like fans expect lengthy matches for anything important. So anything of a star or major star needs to be 20 minutes or more. 20-minute matches can't be achieve world-class scores. Fans will be upset by dangerous, controversial, bloody matches, which is fine. A lot of penalties. Only basic matches like cages are acceptable. Others will be penalized, which means like ladder matches wouldn't be acceptable. Just a lot of unnecessary restrictions here. That's not great. Modern throwback, similarly, is the idea that it's throwing back to golden age, like 60s era, has similar problems, and I don't really see anything in there that is great. Got hokey Southern wrestling, over the top characters somehow rub with this, maybe it be an option. Angles are so like, let's look at this one here, because this was one I was kind of thinking about, because we have classic sports and entertainment. We were originally no style, and that was apparently not attractive to sponsors, so we were kind of running in a situation where we weren't able to get negotiations. Now I tested it out, and classic sports entertainment, which is like classic 1980s to early 1990s style, WWE, WCW, that Western style, which I think personally, I would say probably fits with what we're trying to do. This one, matches less than 15 minutes cannot achieve world-class scores. That makes sense. We're still having, upset by dangerous, controversial, or bloody matches. That makes sense. Your dangerous match setups will get a penalty, right? Because the audience is a little bit thrown off to it. So you have to be careful, but it's not a severe penalty. And I think that makes sense. Death matches, though, will get a severe penalty, which, of course, again, makes sense. And then, everyone's expected to have a gimmick. Fans will expect a lot of ongoing storylines, which makes sense for that style. Major matches will be penalized if they don't have an associated storyline. Each show will need at least one match aimed at storytelling. And that kind of gives us the basis here. Other ones where comedy-based gimmicks can be used even on stars or major stars. So that's a little bit different from what we had. Right now, I'm leaning towards that. I don't hate the idea of hokey Southern wrestling, and let's take a look at that real quick. So this is sort of classic Southern style wrestling. This would be 80s South, which I think also could fit with the idea of the NWA Dynasty. So let's look at this real quick. 90% matches, 10% angles for events, 70% matches, and 30% angles. That totally fits with what we're doing. Matches, fans are open-minded, will accept any match type, which is a little bit interesting. Makes it actually a little bit more open for us. Matches less than 15 minutes will not be able to achieve world-class score. Dangerous, penalties for dangerous or death matches, a similar kind of situation. It's a little bit less restrictive than classic entertainment, actually. So here's where it switches up a little bit. Each show will need at least one match aimed at storytelling, and will need at least one hardcore, wild brawl, car crash, or mayhem. There is same situation. Fans expect a lot of storylines, I kind of feel like this might fit better. I don't know. So what I want to test, and this is the one thing I want to test, this is where I said I will cheat here. I will just go into the editor, and I'm going to just go ahead and change the product, because it's just going to take too long, and I feel like we're still trying to find what that product is for us. So let's see if we can find hokey Southern wrestling. Let's apply it. Let's look at what that does to our broadcast coverage. So we have 1 month left for our broadcast. So if we were to check who's interested, Mav TV is now interested in us. They were one that was previously not interested because of the product style, which didn't tell us what that was. So that's kind of interesting, because we could get a deal worldwide is longer, 2 hours than we're willing to allow. So that's another situation where we might have to look at. Right now, we have a 2-hour show, and would they instead accept a hour and a half show, right? And so that would be another option of if we want these guys, is that an agreement that they would accept? So they're only accepting an hour or 1 hour show, which that might be a deal breaker for us. That's difficult because I think then we're going to run into a lot of issues with a lot of things. So we have a month to really boost ourselves here. That's a problem. But for now, I think I've talked myself into hokey Southern wrestling is sort of a throwback 80s, larger life cartoon characters, which kind of fits our dynamic. Let's look at it just one more time to make sure we're not missing anything really obvious that might be a problem. But I think this might be the best product for us. So let's see. We want our current product. Okay, so our current product is hokey Southern wrestling with overtop characters, wild angles, and blood feuds. Sounds good. So 70% matches, 30% angles sounds good to me. Matches are rated on in-ring action to popularity, which makes sense. Are open-minded, will accept any match type. Matches less than 15 minutes cannot achieve world-class scores, but we don't have that nasty penalty where they expect long matches, which will help because some of our guys don't have the work rate yet for it, and that prevents us from running into situations where every match needs to be 20 minutes. Eye candy matches will be mildly penalized. Death matches will be severely. Dangerous matchups will be slightly penalized, right? Angles that are primarily based on sex appeal will have their overall ratings limited. All workers will be expected to use a gimmick or there will be a penalty. Fine. Fans will expect there to be ongoing storylines. Fine. Major matches will be penalized if they don't have an associated storyline. Fine. And then we need at least one match that's a storytelling match, and at least one that's either a wild brawl, a hardcore, a car crash, or mayhem. And then our levels are strongly affected in terms of attendance by the state of the wrestling industry. Using crazy and stunt bumps will give us boosts. Most comedy-based gimmicks cannot be used by stars or major stars. That's fine. Having a wrestler be forced to unmask will add some heat, and having someone shaved bald as a forfeit adds heat to a segment. I like that product. I think that works pretty well for us. I think that fits the style that I would imagine a Dustin's Rhodes would want. Maybe it's not as much work rate as maybe he would want in there, but I think that fits sort of the brand of that nostalgic NWA. The other option would be classic Southern or Silver Age, and I think Silver Age adds a lot of problems. So, ideal world, we would be able to kind of modify these to make the perfect product. For now, though, I think this might be the best. But let me know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should we go and just try Silver Age? And is that a better fit? Is this the perfect fit? Or should we go to classic sports entertainment and just make a very 80s WWE, WCW? Overall, it's not going to change how we book too much, but I want the product to kind of match our booking philosophy. So let me know. Anyways, we got to sim forward. Let's go ahead and get to the next show. All right, guys, we're back. Before the show, we got some contract negotiations to go over, some news. So let's go ahead and take a look quickly at the news, see what's going on. If there's anything interesting happening. Logan Paul joining NXT. Sure, why not? Not seeing any interesting people up for grabs necessarily. Alley Cat wins new fans online. That's good. new team on TNT. Mike Bennett's dropping out of Impact, but Maria Kanellis is staying, so that's interesting. Not much going on. Looks like our contract with Juice went through. So I guess he's going to do indie dates until said time. I think we bring him in as a heel, though. Wow. Sure. Does not come active until another 24 days when he's done. But as of right now, now, of course, he could get pulled elsewhere. But I'm fine with Juice Robinson joining the NWA. Contracts expiring in 1 month. Billington Boys, we might let that go. So far, they have not been very successful here. Again, I'm not looking to add a lot of people to the roster. The roster's already pretty big. Tag teams are important to have, but I think we could always look at expanding the alliance better. One of the expansions I think we will probably do soon. There's definitely some options out there. We talked about maybe looking out for an option out here for Japan. And there's definitely some that are available. Oh, did Stardom get grabbed up? Because we were talking about... Oh, no, there it is. There's a lot of options here for our women's division, and I think they would take the invite. So that's definitely an option. In the meantime, in the U.S., we would want to look at people that would be beneficial for us to that we don't normally have options to take those people. AEW, I believe, is already part of an alliance, and we would not be able to bring them in. Same with a New Japan. So that would not be an option. And Impact Wrestling, I think, is also already part of an alliance, so we wouldn't be able to get them, but we can get all the wrestlers anyways. So for the most part, we would be looking at people that we would maybe want to try to kind of grow the NWA brand with, not necessarily looking for people to that would give us interesting potentials. Deadlock, DPW, unfortunately, not looking good right now. Negative 20,000 in the hole. Everybody else kind of doing okay. New Japan of America kind of soaking up some cash flow issues there, but everybody else looking pretty healthy out there. So we would mostly be looking for people that may be a nice addition to the NWA brand in the US to kind of expand. I don't know if we necessarily need to jump on it right now. Certainly, though, I think in Japan that might be some benefits of bringing over a Stardom. I think AGPW would be interesting. I know at least somebody's really pushing for a couple things in here, like let's say a Dragon Gate that might be interesting. Obviously, we would not be able to get New Japan because they are part of an alliance already. So the one Japanese promotion I'm most familiar with, I would not be able to get anybody in. So that's the other issue. I think DDT also is part of an alliance. So that is another issue. But something like a Dragon Gate, we could probably pull in. They would accept. So, certainly an option. They are small. They're larger than us. So that provides a bit of a problem, which is that I doubt that they would take the belt off of Cody, but our other titles would potentially be in jeopardy of being wrested control away from us, which is fine because we would just book around it and we would work with it. Same thing with Stardom. But again, you give Starlight Kid the belt for NWA, I'm not going to cry about it. Or you give Kyrie the belt, I'm just going to use Kyrie or Starlight Kid. So I'm not that concerned about it. Someone had said that they were happy that I was saying that I wasn't going to just hot shot it, and I'm not going to hot shot it. Like, we are, if an alliance member takes the belt, we'll work with it. But we're not going to add anybody to the alliance, I think, until Codyverse. So after Codyverse and we get our new broadcast contract, I think, and then we'll look at adding 2 people to the alliance, and it might be 2 Japanese promotions. It might not be anybody in America. The other option for American expansion is just bringing some companies home, and that's another idea that I kind of want to do. And what I mean by that is there are the championship wrestlings, Arizona, Hollywood, Memphis, bringing some of these boys home, and bringing them in would be sort of the option here to say, hey, we don't necessarily need your guys, but you're joining us, and that would help them out, but they would then become part of the alliance. That might be an option as well. So, but we'll deal with that once we hit Codyverse. Anyways, let's go ahead and let's get to the show. All right, before we get to the show, it does look like we have some last-minute nonsense to deal with. Obviously, we know our fight contract's expiring, which is fine. And then we had a alliance loan. No, it was from somebody else. That's fine. We have a friendship between Kerry Morton and Ricky Starks. And then, of course, we have Marshall Von Erich. We need to get a new contract in. We'll go ahead and just put in another written 1 year. I think we'll be fine. Can't believe he accepted the 120, but that's fine. Carlito says he will retire from active competition in 3 months, which is fine. We'll probably move him to a manager role for the other members of the Cologne Dynasty, so that's not that concerning. Anyways, let's get to the show. Auto booked in the same location as always. Obviously, we still have the same absent workers. And we have no need for an open form. So that is pretty good. Nick Aldis, we're just going to keep on trying this. Ricky Starks, Nick Aldis. We will push this friendship. Oh, no! Oh, wait, no, that's good. That upgraded it. We went from don't like each other to simmering tension. That's good. So now they're just not talking in the background. They seem to be okay. They're better. Okay, that's good. Looking at 196 fans. Probably going to be about a sellout again. So let's go ahead. Let's book the show. Alright guys, we are back with 123 minutes, 3 pre-show matches, and we'll see how this goes. I don't know if we're gonna get a 63 on this one, but we'll see. We advanced some storylines, we're taking a little bit some risks here. Let's go ahead and see how this show shapes up. Alright. So we start off the show. Pre-show matches, Colby Carino versus Sean Hernandez. We have not debuted Hernandez yet, and I wanted to give Colby Carino a win outside of the tournament because he's not doing very well. So I figured since he's not on tonight, it's a good opportunity to do that. And yeah, so 42, not bad. I mean, Colby Carino is like a really solid in-ring performer. He's a really good middle of the hand here for us at a 47. Sean Hernandez, not nearly as good at only a 30. Colby Carino gets the win in 11 minutes by pinfall. Same situation for Fatu. The Fatu's being very dominant. I just wanted to get him some work because he hasn't been on in a while, so I didn't want him to get any personality issues. So we give him some work. We let him work our dark match in a pre-show. It's just him just manhandling Leland race for like 7 minutes. Leland's only got a 27. Fatu's got a 71. I mean, come on. Gives us 49. Jacob Fatu looked good, and hopefully that keeps any personality issues from bubbling up. Same situation for some of the women here. Jamie Hayter, who's not on the show tonight, we wanted to give her another win to try to continue her dominant streak. Had great heat, had good wrestling. Hayter and Ramona Riot defeat Marty Bell and Camille in 10 minutes. Jamie Hayter pins Marty Bell after a curb stomp. And looking at it, looks pretty good. 54 for Ramona, 50 for Jamie, 34 for Camille, and 33 for Marty. We actually advanced some storylines for some of these people, even in the dark match. But again, we're just kind of building up some momentum for people and just kind of giving them some matches to work. It's a 47, not too bad. We start the show off with Eddie Kingston busting into Dustin Rhodes' office. Dustin's all beat up. He's banged up still from the attack from Ace Austin. And Eddie's there because it was just announced on social media earlier in the week that Ace Austin would be challenging Cody for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship after Cody accepted the challenge last week. This has absolutely enraged Eddie Kingston. Eddie goes, Dustin, we have to talk about this match. I've been busting my ass out there for weeks now, and respectfully, I think the number one contender should face Cody, and I think I'm the number one contender. All Ace Austin has done is turn into a little freaking maniac. Dustin nods and goes, I understand, but Cody did accept the challenge. But let me think here. Okay, here's what we could do. How about this? Tonight, we determine a true number one contender. Ace Austin's not been respectful out there. So we shouldn't just reward that. So you versus Ace Austin, winner gets the spot. Deal? Eddie's happy with it. So we have a main event. Eddie Kingston versus Ace Austin. Winner becomes number one contender. Will face Cody for the belt at into the Codyverse. They all do well. Got to show off to a strong start because it's 63. Crowd is pumped for our main event tonight. And we open up with our first match, Allison K with another 15-minute beat the clock challenge. The winner of it gets a shot at her belt. We've done one before. Unfortunately, Kylie Ray does not beat the champ or beat the clock. She loses in 11 minutes by submission. And so Allison K gets another win here. She's got a 52. Kylie Ray looking good too. Fortunately, the match was poorly placed. It was a work the crowd match. I didn't expect them to flip out over an Eddie Kingston promo in an office, but apparently they did. So we got a penalty there. Still, 47 is not too bad. They had some really good chemistry, which was nice to see as well. So something to keep in mind later. Poor Kylie's been on a real big losing streak for us, and I think we have to do something about that soon. Give her a little bit of opportunity. Afterwards, Allison K cuts a promo. She talks about the chaos in the women's division. Everybody's been attacking each other, and she's above it. She's just here to be a damn good wrestler because she's a bad bitch, and she knows it. She doesn't want to be a part of any of that drama. She's not interested in cliques. She's not interested in joining groups. She's not interested in taking sides. She's interested in, beating asses, taking home paychecks. Says if King Coda wants a shot at the title, she needs to earn it in a 15-minute match or a match of her choosing. Coda Kai starts mouthing off saying that she comes in and she's like, I don't need to prove myself in a 15-minute match like the rest of them. I know I'm the most dominant person here. I know I'm the best wrestler on this card. You're only a big fish in a small pond, and now that I'm here, you have to do everything in your power to keep me away from you. And so Kay says, okay, well, you know what? If you don't want to do a 15-minute title shot, that's fine. How about this? How about next week, you get a match and you get to earn it. I won't be in it. I get to choose the competitors. I get to choose the type of match. If you win it, you have a title shot against me. And Coda Kai says, yeah, whatever, and accepts it. So Allison K foregoing the 15-minute match and allowing Coda Kai saying that if you succeed in a match next week of my choosing, you can have a title shot with me into the Dakota first. So that is what we're got building here. Got the crowd hotter. 52 is actually not too bad, all things considered. First of our 2 tournament matches tonight, and poorly did not go very well. I was going to say not poorly placed, but it did not go very well here. Chris Adonis gets his first damn win against Davey Boy Smith in a fast roll-up. It's a 9-minute match. Chris Adonis got a 32. It's not doing very well. Davey Boy Smith's 53, and what a Chad Davey Boy Smith Jr. is for letting Chris get this win without any complaints whatsoever. Unfortunately, the match is a 44. It doesn't do very well, but damn it, Chris Adonis has finally got a win in this tournament. Maybe the only one he gets, but we give him something. Afterwards, we have a very short match that is abysmal. Just absolute dog trash pile fire. Holy hell. 21. We get the End versus the Dynamic Duo in 4 minutes. Odinson pins Mark Billington with an F10. Ooh, okay, so let's break this down. Mike Perro has a 40. Odinson has a 45. Thomas and Mark have a 20 and 22, respectfully. Trash. 21 for this match. It was a 4-minute beatdown. We just wanted to give Odinson a little bit of a boost here. What a horrible thing to put on the show. I thought we were at least going to get a 40 out of this. The Billington boys are going to be... their contract's going to be expiring next month, and I would be shocked if they are renewed. Boy, that was bad. Can they redeem it on the mic? The End struggle here, too. We have a post-match promo where Odinson cuts a promo and says, whoever wins the best of 5 should look out. The End's coming. Nobody seems to believe it. He's stuttering and stammering. He's forgetting his damn lines out there. He only gets a 34. Not looking good in our tag division here. Boy. All right. And another of our Strongbow Memorial Tournament matches here. We got Nick Aldis versus Homicide. And it's a fantastic heat and considered to have great wrestling. We have Nick Aldis defeating Homicide in 14 minutes and 44 seconds, or 46 seconds by submission. Confusingly, Nick Aldis and Camille are on different sides of the face-heel divide. Yeah, we got to fix that eventually. I keep on forgetting about that. Nick Aldis has an in-ring performance of 54. Homicide had a 49. Aldis hinting at a heel turn in some of his mannerisms here. And of course, we got a 46, which is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. He gets a win here in the tournament, and afterwards he decides to cut a promo, which does pretty okay. A 51 I'll take out of this. Aldis here cuts a promo after his tournament match, just talking about not being appreciated. And, you know, he says, I hear a lot of people in this tournament talk about how they will be the next television champion. It kind of maybe hinting at Ricky Starks here, who kind of just mouthed off about it last week. Well, I don't think many are ready. Because to be an NWA champion, it's not like other championships. It doesn't matter whether it's the world's champion or the television champion or the women's or the tag. It means a higher level. It means dedication. It means sacrifice. It means honoring legacy. And I've honored that legacy of the NWA from its brightest moments to its darkest times, from stadiums to market fairs. I've sampled the taste of history immemorial, and I want more. Most people seem to be discounting me now. They will be proven wrong. When I become the television champion, and then the champion of the world. So Nick Aldis wants a spot at the top. He sees the television championship as a spot to get there. He seems to very much care about the NWA championship and a legacy of the NWA. That probably comes from being like champion for 700 days or whatever. But he is basically saying that do not discount me in this tournament because I know what it was like to get there and I want more of it. And, you know, what do they say? Never doubt a hungry animal, right? So it's very possible Nick Aldis might not look like the top contender in this field, but maybe he has a little more drive, a little more desperation to get there. Maybe he's willing to do more to get there than others. So kind of interesting. Does okay. 51. Another match, actually, well, better than the Billington boys. Let's say that. Decent match. Tim Storm Jr. defeats Jordan Oliver in 8 minutes by submission. Tim Storm Jr. has a 31. Jordan Oliver has a 47. Gets us a 43. I'm going to keep on trying my Tim Storm Jr. project, and we're going to get him to the 40s eventually. Afterwards, he cuts another just dog shit promo. Tim Storm Jr. calls out Nick Camarado, who attacked him last week. Says he wants him next week in a no DQ match. Tim Storm Jr. says, you want to bring that edge? I'm going to show you that edge, Nick. I'm going to take you to the limit in a no DQ match. God help us. We have no idea what the hell that's going to look like. But we're going to try to plow through to the end of this damn storyline one way or the other. So QT, big muscle Nick Camarado going to be facing Tim Storm Jr. in a no DQ match. Let's see what we can do next week. Unfortunately, this segment gets a 28. And now we got Aaron Stevens and Colt Cabana. After having called a person, they come to the ring for a triple threat match tonight. The Cologne Dynasty's out there. They've been picking on Aaron and Colt for a while now. And they want to finish this feud once and for all. They called them out. Carlito kind of mentions, like, well, you don't have a tag partner here. I don't see a third man. It's going to be a 2 versus 3. Okay, whatever. And Aaron Stevens says, wait, let us introduce our new trio's partner. Aaron isn't super thrilled by this, but Colt is. And then music hits. And we have Warhorse debuts with Danhausen by his side. Comes out. The two of them were not officially signed in the NWA before, but they were just kind of hanging out. Danhausen, technically a champion in the NWA previously in our save, has returned to the NWA. Warhorse has taken the call to aid Aaron and Colt Cabana here. Gets a 47. He gets a very good for his gimmick here, as does Danhausen, who gets a gimmick of great. Danhausen is managing Warhorse here. The segment gets a 47 for his debut. It's not too bad. The match itself, pretty solid. 58. Considered a superb match. Aaron Stevens, Colt Cabana, and Warhorse defeat the Cologne Dynasty in 17 minutes. Warhorse gets the pin on Carlito with a double foot stomp. Warhorse debuts in a big way. Colt Cabana off his game in this match, but Eddie and Orlando with a 49 and 44. Carlito with a 49. Warhorse with a 55. Colt with a 45. Aaron with a 50. We end the storyline between the Colognes and Colt and Aaron here. Danhausen doing great work ringside. Got the crowd buzzing. Might be a problem for our main event. We will have to see. But Eddie getting better at his gimmick. So Colognes get a big L here. Now that Warhorse is here, numbers advantage doesn't work for them anymore. And Warhorse debuts in a big way. In our match, it's not that bad. 64. Ace Austin versus Eddie Kingston in a interesting conclusion, though, with considered an exceptional match in 14 to 58 seconds after some interference from Zicky Dice causing an attack on Kingston. Both of them somehow perform their finishing moves together at the same time, hit each other. They both pin each other at the same time. It's a draw. It's a double pinfall. There is no conclusive winner for the number one contendership. Crowd is okay with it, actually. I was expecting them to be a little turned off by it, but we have a a shady finish here. We'll have to resolve that in the next show. But right now, we have no definitive number one contender. So kind of interesting. Maybe a triple threat setup. Match show itself, 61. That's not bad. It's actually our second best show, with the first being last week. We had 193 people out in there, not a sellout. But I think we could have got a 63 if we didn't have some of these stinkers, these yellow ratings here kind of hurt us quite a bit. But some of them, they needed to happen. Yeah, maybe not the end versus dynamic duo. Maybe it didn't need to happen, but some of them needed to happen. So I'll take it. All right, we are back. We got some mail here. Just our viewing figures, 18,311. That's not bad. Another about 18,000 in there. We're still on our final deals for Fight and our broadcasting deals with Independent Pro Wrestling. So hopefully we can get something going with our broadcast. In terms of movement, we're looking pretty solid. Southeast now at 33, which still about what it was last month. Seems like we're gaining about one a month. Making a lot more progress in other areas, though, it looks like. No, it's about the same, actually, now that I say that. So we're moving at a slow pace, but that is fine. Money is an issue, but again, we have about 10 months in our war chest, so we should be fine. Everything works out okay. The big issue now is really, can I get on a bigger broadcaster? Do we have to make some cuts and requirements? Do we have to cut down to a 1 hour show for Mav? And that's really going to be the question here. Right now, the only person willing to negotiate with us is Mav, and they are, while not a larger thing than IWTV, they're likely going to give us more money because they're a commercial cable network. So the money might help. There's probably more eyes on the product as well. And there's certainly less competition in terms of other wrestling promotions that are working on it. We do lose some of our international eyes, but that's not really something we care that much about, at least at the moment. There are other companies we would hope to maybe be able to get. Some of that may be possible with just upgrading. We don't meet their minimum popularity. You need 28 in all 5 regions. That's not likely to happen. Pop would need a 42 in 9 regions. Isn't likely going to happen either anytime soon. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say if any of these are doable at the moment. 35 and 9 is not going to happen anytime soon. It might be Mav. Mav might be the one, and that might mean having to go down to 1 hour of a show. That's going to be difficult to book. It's going to be a real decision of whether that is worth it to us. I don't know if we're going to get more eyes on that than just being on IWTV. A little bit of money is nice, but it's not necessarily something that we care about that much. But looking at all these, there's not a lot of easy changes. Like I was hoping there would be some that are just, changing some of our production qualities, but a lot of these are size requirements. And those are going to be issues that will become a problem for us. So right now it might be Mav, and that might be it. Or we stick with IWTV for another couple months and renew it that way. Company must be medium in size for Paramount. They're not going to pick us up anytime soon. So, let me know what you guys think. IWTV or Mav TV? Do we take the hit for a little extra money? Or do we keep our creative control by being in IWTV again? Presumably IWTV would negotiate for the same thing, right? new deal. Oh, it would be an extension of a deal. Well, I'm not going to play around with it, but they might just be better to just stick around with right now, even if we're not making a lot of money off of it. Just maybe an idea. Anyways, that is it for us today. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time for another episode of NWA The Dynasty.